Hi, my name is Goodson, and I'm an accounting instructor at Wake Tech. I'd like to walk you through my Epic Master course and give you a tour. So in my Epic Master course, my main focus was on our course introduction and getting students acquainted with the overall course and getting started. I also initially focused on engagement. This course is built as an online course primarily, and I wanted to ensure students were fully engaged in the course. And then I focused on the overall standardization of the course, ensuring that all my folders were set up in sync and standardized. They were also standardized with our accounting department at Wake Tech. So students become familiar with the accounting department courses, and so they automatically know their course format because it's laid out in a standardized form. So welcome to Accounting Information Systems and Internal Controls, ACC268. When students first join the course, they're going to see our announcement page, and there's a welcome message from me. So there's a written welcome message and a video welcome message. And I wanted to do this to encourage student engagement and let them know who their instructor is behind the course. So I've got a welcome video message they can watch, as well as a written message to get them into the course. It tells a little bit about the course and who I am and where to really start. So it directs them to the Getting Started folder under Blackboard. It also tells them some information about our course entry quiz, where to find our course materials, and what your next step should be as a student. It also prepares them with how to reach out to the instructor with directing them to faculty information so they can find out my contact information. And there's a little bit of encouragement there that I'm looking forward to a great semester. So from our welcome announcement, let's go to our Getting Started page. And under Getting Started, students are directed to the overall purpose of the course and how our course is structured. So go through the menu items in Blackboard and just tell them a little bit about why they're there and their purpose. Then we go through course expectations, what students' responsibilities are, what students can expect from the instructor, and what the instructor expects from the student. Go through some tips for taking an online course, and there's some links to the course syllabus as well as student support. Okay, so after the students review the Getting Started information, they're going to dive into our first assignment, and that's under the Lessons menu item. And there's a Before You Can Begin the Course. So they're directed through the Before You Begin. And in the Before You Begin, there's specific tasks to complete. And so as part of that, students are taking a tour of our Blackboard course. And the great thing about this course is that it's standardized among the accounting department. And so each accounting student that's taken an accounting course is going to see the familiar Blackboard menu item layout. And generally our courses start the same. We have the same format, the same lessons menu item, and within each lessons menu item, there's standardization among how our course is divided. So under each chapter or module, all students will see an introduction, the learning outcomes for the chapter, the tasks they need to complete, what assignments they will be graded on, and then if there's any additional support for this module, it will be in the additional resources folder. And so this is a great way to standardize our courses throughout the department, and so there's no confusion among the students about where they find what assignments they need to complete to receive a grade. So they can easily do that under each of our modules. In our introduction menu or introduction announcement, I mentioned faculty information. And so under faculty information, students will find out a little bit more about me, where my office is, how to get up with me via email, phone, and then how to communicate with me and how to get the fastest response. There's also a faculty bio that tells a little bit about me, and nowadays we're using Microsoft Teams to meet with students as an easy communication tool, and so we've got some information on how to reach out via Microsoft Teams. I mentioned that one of my course focus items was online engagement. And so, as well as my welcome video, I also plan to hold some virtual class meetings throughout the semester. And so students will find the virtual class meetings menu item in Blackboard, and it explains what a virtual class is. So students are enrolled in an online course. However, I still want to be able to engage with them as needed. And so periodically throughout the semester, I'm going to hold some live virtual class meetings in Microsoft Teams. Of course, because this is an online course, attendance is optional, but it gives students a chance to prepare and ask any questions and meet with your instructor. And so I've explained to them what a virtual class is in this folder and how to access the virtual class. There's also some support from Wake Tech on using Microsoft Teams if they need that. I go through my overall virtual class expectations, and then we'll go back to our virtual class meetings. For every virtual class I plan to hold, I develop a virtual class folder with that date on it, and within the folder students will find the meeting link. They'll also find it in Microsoft Teams, but the meeting link will be there. And then any material I plan to cover during that session will be available to students. So I pick a time. Sometimes I poll students at the beginning of the semester to determine what time works for them. I will also record the meeting because I know not everybody will be able to attend at the time selected by the instructor. So if they want to go back and watch the session or rewatch it if they did attend, then the link will be there with the recording for them to review. Now let's talk through some ways that I've improved my course, thinking about some of the EPIC mastered standards. So I wanted to focus on creating course lecture videos for each lesson of the course. I think students are used to absorbing video material and they don't want to go and read a textbook. And so I've created course lecture videos throughout the course to improve the course. I also wanted to review my learning objectives and make sure I had widely applicable learning objectives and that they were actionable. I went through my course and improved my grading rubrics. And I also sought out some ways to create some additional self-grading assessments throughout the course. So students received some feedback in a very timely manner. And finally, I wanted to look at my additional resource folders throughout each lesson and improve and add to that content so that it was applicable and students that wanted a little extra support had that resource available to them. So let's go and walk through some of these improvements. My first course improvement was to include lecture videos for each chapter, and I felt like that would build upon my course engagement with your instructor as a student. And so every chapter, students will go to a graded assignment. I used VidGrid to create a chapter lecture, and I included a quiz with that lecture to ensure that students were actually watching the videos. So this is chapter 1. There's specific instructions on how to watch and complete the quiz, as well as if students want to increase the speed of the video or if they want to increase the size or add closed captions. So that shows them how to do that with the instructions. So this is chapter 1. Every chapter has one. Chapter 2 is in the graded assignments folder, again, using a standardized layout so students can navigate the course easily. Here's our lecture quiz for chapter 2. Okay. Then moving on, my next improvement was to look at my learning outcomes and add some actionable learning outcomes to the course and ensuring they're aligned with our overall course learning outcomes. And so I've looked at that from each module's perspective. My next focus was improving grading rubrics and looking at adding some self-grading assignments. And so if there are assignments that have any sort of subjectivity to them, those assignments now include a grading rubric. And so students can review the grading rubric prior to completing the assignment. I point them to the grading rubric in the assignment instructions so that they're ensured to to look at those instructions prior to actually submitting their assignments for grades. So there's a discussion board that has some subjectivity in the grading. There is a grading rubric to go with that discussion board. This course has a presentation, a video presentation that students have to do, and so as a part of that, there's a grading rubric included in that presentation, and I directed students to review that before they actually submit the assignment. I also looked at ways I could create self-grading assignments, and you might think, well, that definitely helps the instructor, but my goal was to help the student in getting some feedback that was instantaneous. So they know how they're doing. They don't have to wait for me to grade anything. They know how they're doing in the course, and they know areas where they can work on and improve upon. So I've gone through and looked at ways that I can develop self-grading activities within Blackboard so that they get that instant feedback. And I've done that throughout most of the chapters, the modules of the course. I also wanted to improve the additional resources for each chapter. So students sometimes will just go through the course. They will do what they have to and receive their grade. But a lot of times you'll have students that want more. And so I've included additional resources folder with every module, every chapter, and I've tried to pull resources to build upon the knowledge that's not straight from the textbook. So within each chapter, students will always find the PowerPoint slides. A lot of them like those slides as they're reviewing information. And I've gone through and I've tried to pull out different articles that might support the topics of the chapter, or different videos that support the overall chapter topic. And so that they've got more to focus on than just what's in the text, if they want it. Now, this is additional, and so it's not required, but it's to support their overall learning. Thanks for stopping in for a tour of my Epic Master course. I plan to continue to improve, as always, and I hope maybe you found some helpful information as well.